Hi, I'm Allie Awesome, and I am in recovery for substance abuse. I had my last drink on January 27th, 2015, so 5 years ago. And I was working at a strip club. Now, I should just say I was the worst stripper of all time. I actually lost money as a dancer because of house fees, and I was never making money. I was just spending it on house fees and drinks. And the staff had actually been telling me that they thought I had a drinking problem. Like at multiple clubs, they were telling me, staff at strip clubs were telling me that I had a problem. And I was, I was like, it's fine. I'll just limit my drinks and then I just drink even more. So this time it was extra bad. I took a Uber home, and I remember I went to bed. I didn't take my makeup off, and for some reason that night, I didn't let my dog sleep in the bed with me. I actually closed the door on them, and they were out in my living room, which I feel bad about because they literally sleep in my bed every single night. Um, and the next morning, I slept through my alarm, and I actually slept through my first shift of the day. I was working 2 day jobs in addition to working as a dancer at night. And I was still broke, by the way. I was still broke, even with 3 jobs. It was not a good scene. And, but so I slept through my first job of the day, and I had like an hour to get ready for my afternoon job as a teacher. And I was so sick. I was so sick to my stomach. I was throwing up. My hair was like stuck to my face. My makeup was from the night before was like running. And it was just, my dogs had made a mess, if you know what I mean, throughout the living room. And there were Burger King wrappers just everywhere because I had the Uber drivers stop at Burger King on the way home. And it was just absolutely disgusting. And to be honest, this wasn't that different of a day for me. Like the dog poop and wrappers were a little worse, but like the way I felt was, pretty normal for me. But I had this weird moment where I don't know, the sun was shining through the window, even though it was January, but I just will always remember the sun was shining through the blinds. And I was like, oh, but I had this intuitive thought. And I don't know if it was a higher power or what, but it was, this is your last chance. You have a problem. This is your last chance. And I was like, I have a problem. Oh no. I was like, I have a problem. And it just stuck with me. So I went to my afternoon job. It was like an after school theater program. And before my boss got there, I was just absolutely so sick, and I was freaking out. I was shaking. I'm sure it smelled like alcohol. Like it was bad. And I was like, I'm going to have to tell my boss that, because I have to teach the little kids today. I have to teach a theater class and I'm not okay. And I'm also crying because I'm also like, this is, I'm realizing like, I'm hitting my rock bottom. Like, this is really bad. And so I started searching AA meetings when I should have been doing my lesson plan. And my boss got there and I was just like, I have a problem. And I just started crying. And she was furious, rightfully so. And she sent me home. And that night I went to my first AA meeting. And I was late. I remember I was late. I don't remember what they were talking about in the meeting, but I was crying. I sat in the back and I was just an absolute mess. But a woman came up and introduced herself and gave me a hug. Now, I hadn't had a hug in a long time. She was like, she actually, like, I think she gave me a card, like a business card or something with her number on it. And the next night, I went to a women's meeting. And that's actually what I consider my sobriety date. Because actually, I had my last drink on the morning of the 28th. So, because since the bar closes at 2, so I would have been drinking until 2. So my sobriety date is the 29th. And that's also when I went to this women's meeting. And I'm about to cry and I'm sorry, but those women were incredible and I felt like I was home. And they also had little desserts. And I hadn't really eaten in the last 2 days. So they gave me all of the desserts, all of the food to take home. I think there was maybe crackers or something. They knew I was a mess. And one gal sat outside with me outside the building and we just talked. And I don't know, something really beautiful happened there. And I knew I owed something to those women. So they definitely changed my whole life. So after that, I did a 90 and 90, which is 90 meetings in 90 days. And I just really gave my whole life to recovery. I quit my stripping job because I could not stay sober in the club. And I also was losing money. Let's be honest. I was just the worst stripper. So, I threw myself into AA and I got a sponsor and we read the big book word for word, just literally just word for word. I couldn't believe it when she told me we were going to do that, but a lot of people do. And I started working the steps. I also got involved with an organization called the Phoenix, formerly known as Phoenix Multisport. Now, this was integral to my recovery. They have CrossFit classes, boxing, and rock climbing. That's where I learned how to rock climb. And on Friday nights, I went to the climbing gym, and that's where I made a whole bunch of friends. I didn't have really close friendships until then. Like I did in high school, but with how my drinking was, by the end of my drinking, I didn't have any friends. Um, it was a very lonely existence. But through AA and through the Phoenix, I had, this busy social life, and um, and I had friends who cared about me, and that was really like a new thing, really remarkable. And it was a really hard and beautiful time in my life. Like it was difficult. Early sobriety is hard. Like, no joke, it's hard. But it's also really beautiful. And like, that's when a miracle happened. And I'm still sober 5 years later because of that foundation that I built during that time. And I also had a gift of desperation because it was bad. It was so, so, so bad. So yeah, that's how I got sober. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It means a lot to me. Thank you.